Good evening and welcome to Triathlon Queensland's exclusive live Q&A with 3 stars of the sport of triathlon here in Queensland. I'd like to welcome Romy Wolstencroft, one of the top performing junior elites in the state, Sarah Crowley, one of the best long course professional triathletes globally, with a world-class CV of sport and highlights, might I add, and Cam Watt, high performance triathlon coach and head coach of Hills District, who brings a wealth of experience to the panel. Welcome guys, it's great to have you here tonight.
Scotty.
Before telling you a little bit more about these inspiring individuals, I'd like to acknowledge that at the 2017-18 Champions of Queensland Awards, Sarah won the Professional Female Athlete of the Year and Romy won Female Junior Elite Athlete of the Year. So exceptional awards, really deserving triathletes, and we're thrilled to have you here tonight. So, before we get started, I will tell you a little bit about these amazing 3 stars of the sport, and then you guys can fire away with your questions, exclusive Q&A, fire in questions, all the things that you want to know about triathlon, about these 3, and we'll get started. So, Romy Wolstencroft, Queensland-based triathlete, member of the Sunshine Coast Triathlon Academy, but currently coached by Cam Watt, who's here with us on the panel tonight. Major results to highlight with Romy, 2017 and 2016 Queensland All Schools Champion, racing for Sunshine Coast, Romy. 2018 Junior Oceania Champs in New Zealand. You were the first Australian across the line, 3rd Oceania and 5th Junior overall, so very impressive results. 2018 ITU Junior World Triathlon Champs, you're the first Australian, 5th Junior overall, so that's absolutely amazing. And at the iconic Noosa Tri last year, you were the 8th place in the elite field. So amazing results here by Romy, this junior elite triathlete here in Queensland. So in the mix of triathlon, Romy, am I right to say that you are about to start university?
Yeah, actually, I start university on the 25th at QUT, so I'm very excited.
And what are you off to study?
A Bachelor of Engineering Honours in Science.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing a little bit more about that. Romy's pathway to high performance sport began as a competitive open water swimmer at a young age, I believe. Mm-hmm. Your dad did triathlons, but it did take you a while to get into the sport of tri. But when you did, you started in a really big way. First start line was Bribie Island Tri, I believe, where you surprised yourself and finished 4th. Mm-hmm. And now she's one of the top performing junior elite triathletes in Australia. It's testament to her determination and guidance of her former coach, Toby Coote, and obviously current coach, Cam Watt, who joins us tonight. So welcome, Romy. Can't wait to hear from you. Next up, we've got Cam Watt. So Cam, professional high-performance triathlon coach and head coach at the Hills District. Is that right?
Yeah,
anything else to add there?
No, that's my current.
Yep. You've been in the sport of triathlon since 1989, where I believe your school teacher encouraged you to have a bit of a try. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Way back.
And now you're a professional triathlon coach, guiding athletes through the highs, the lows, and the challenges of professional sport. No easy task. So
it's not.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I think this is really interesting. Athletes under Cam's guidance have secured a stack of impressive race performances and results. So I'm going to take you through these because these are amazing. I was wowed by them. So 2 world titles, 3 world championship podiums, a Kona podium, 17 70.3 victories, 39 70.3 podiums, 5 Ironman victories, 11 Ironman podiums, 5 regional WTS champs, 3 Oz national titles, 29 short course wins, 48 short course podiums, and a very special 5th place at the ITU Junior World Champs last year. So that is an absolutely amazing array of results from the athletes under your guidance. So yeah, congratulations. That's very impressive.
Thanks, Courtney.
So welcome, Cam. Stoked to have you here tonight. And the lovely Sarah Crowley. Welcome, professional triathlete, member of Red Dog Triathlon Training here in Brisbane, and has been a Triathlon Queensland ambassador over the years, so definitely giving back to the sport of triathlon here in Queensland. So welcome, Sarah. You've had an amazing career in the sport of triathlon. I've definitely followed your journey, so inspiring, along with so many others. You started out as an age group triathlete in 2004. In 2007, you raced the World Triathlon Circuit as an ITU elite and made the switch into long course racing in 2012.
Yeah.
And where you remain to date. Currently one of the best long course triathletes in the world with stacks of experience and class under your race belt. Honestly, it's amazing to have you here, so thank you so much. To add to your classy CV, I believe you did race Continental Team Cycling during 2010 and 2012. And I'll take you through a string of your notable results, just to recap on the amazing success you've had over the last couple of years. So 2018 South American Ironman Regional Champ, 2017 World Long Course ITU Triathlon Champion, the 2017 European Ironman Regional Champ, 2017 Asia Pacific Ironman Regional Champion, 2017 made it on the podium where, Sarah? Kona, yeah, very amazing one to add. 2016 Middle East Ironman 70.3 World Champ, 2 times Australian Champion ITU Duathlon and ITU Long Course Triathlon, and the 2009 Oceania and Australian ITU Champion. I've almost lost my breath because that's just an amazing string of results, so congratulations. There's so many more to add, but I thought they were a few to definitely highlight. You claimed that you were inspired into the sport of triathlon when you watched an aquathon. You watched the aquathon, the next day you signed up to a tri club, and 3 years later you're representing Australia at ITU level. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a race actually in my hometown of Adelaide at Glenelg Beach. So everyone would have seen that on the Tour Down Under most recently last week. So yeah, I just watched a race and it was so dynamic and fast and fun. There were so many people watching and just getting involved, and yeah, it was really inspiring that they had a separate women's race, the men's race, they had an age group race, and yeah, I was sort of hooked just from watching it. So you know, I guess we have similar stuff now with the sort of Super League and the short course racing, and that's the kind of thing that I saw and I was inspired to race tries. So yeah, signed up next day, and I didn't exactly know what I was in store for, and yeah, it sort of hit me in the face a little bit early, but yeah, great sport, and yeah, it's been a pretty long and diverse journey so far.
Yeah. So now, obviously, 2019, you've actually just announced your season, which I don't see you do a lot of over the years. So this is pretty exciting that you're kind of announcing where you're going to be. The first opening event, I guess, will be Hell of the West, which runs 9th to 10th in February in Goondiwindi, which is very exciting. You've won this race 5 times, so this is amazing that you're kind of opening your year there. What's so special about this race?
I grew up in country South Australia originally, so maybe only to the age of 5, but I do remember it vividly, and Goondiwindi has so many elements that remind me of where I grew up. So I feel one, the need to support regional races because they're really the grassroots of the sport, and it's just so much fun seeing the community get involved, and often the events don't always get the credit that they deserve for how well they're run without all the, you know, experience that some of the larger events have. And Goondiwindi, and there's another one actually in South Australia called Murrayman that are very similar, and yeah, it just inspires me to, you know, get the season going. It's a really good start, low pressure but fun, and everyone's very welcoming. So yeah, it's I couldn't go the year without that race. I don't think. I really love it, and yeah, it just sort of gets me set up really well for the rest of the year. So yeah, and you're right. I don't normally announce the races I'm doing. I probably in the past, getting candid, I sort of don't like to feel the pressure of people knowing what I'm doing and stuff. But yeah, look, whatever. It just is what it is, and I'll, you know, train to perform at my best at those races, and it's sort of a way for me to not have to. I just focus on myself, and if I tell people, I don't tell people, it makes no difference. So yeah, I'll look forward to the year ahead.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're excited because Hell of the West is obviously our next big event for Triathlon Queensland. It's the Long Course State Championships in this Nissan State Series, so we're very excited that you will be on the start line. So this is our panel tonight. A big welcome to the 3 of you. We're so excited to have you here. To set the scene and open things up, I'm just going to ask a question for all of you. If you could just take us through what you got up to today.
Oh, okay. So this morning, well, I've just recently moved into a place in Mitchelton, so just like settling in there, and I've got a Swiss housemate, so we just went for like an easy run, and went home, had breakfast, had a coffee, watched TV for a bit, had another snack, went out for another run.
Is the roommate a triathlete?
Yeah, he's a triathlete from Geneva as well, and he's over until April. So yeah, we're just taking him around Mitchelton to have a look around, and then much to my dislike, we had a run in the middle of the day in the heat, and so we did that, had a nice little bike warm down, went home, ate, slept, and then came here again. So pretty crazy day, but yeah, good day.
Okay.
We had a bit of, well, my day the way we run our squad, we've broken up into a few different groups. So this morning my day started with swimming. We had a swim session on, and then that group then did a run session and a little mini meeting with one of the athletes after that. Then went home, and then some of my athletes are not in Brisbane at the moment, and so usually after swimming, that time links up well with my American and European athletes, and so then I catch up with them in time to get back at midday to a track session. Yeah, we had a track session at lunchtime where Romy was letting me know her dislike of running in the middle of the day, and then then back home for some more catch-ups with other athletes, and then into here. Yeah.
Excellent. Great, thank you. Sarah, what happened today?
Sort of similar. I'm based, I live in the city, so I used the opportunity for sort of an easier aerobic run to actually catch up with the Red Dog crew, and I ran with them for my morning run, and then I spent the time having a coffee with a couple of my friends at Red Dog, and then I went home, and I'm a bit tired at the moment because I've just started back training, so I had a big long sleep, and then I got up and had a snack, and my husband, who helps me a lot, actually came with me to do my treadmill to supervise me so that I get it done with some enthusiasm as opposed to sort of just moping around. So he helped me out by pressing the reset button when the treadmill says stop when you jump off for little effort. So we went and did that, and then we had a coffee and lunch together, which was nice, and then I came home and I just had a recovery ride this afternoon, and then prepared to come into here. So it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right, so a question that's come in for Sarah, but I'm actually going to open up to both the girls, is what is a favourite session on your program? So maybe we'll start with Romy.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I generally like swimming training, as odd as it, as even though it's my weakest leg, I generally like training for it. And one of my do you mean favourite as in most challenging, hard, or like easy?
You interpret the question the way that you think it, Romy.
Well, probably like a hard one we do is it's like this mix of 25s and then 300s. So you do heaps of 25s, 60 25s, and then you do 900 meters descending, and then you do 40 25s and 600 meters descending, and then you do 20 25s and then just 300 hard, and then it takes forever, but it's really just mentally kills you.
And you I guess you look forward to that challenging session.
It's a good challenging one. But another favourite session of mine, which we often do after running, is 50 pull, 50 kick. Oh no, 50 kick, 50 pull, 50 kick, 100 pull.
Oh, you stole mine.
50 kick, 150 pull, and you build that up and then build down. It's only 1.5k. So there's the two extremes.
Okay, excellent. Sarah?
So I like that one as well.
The easiest one that we do.
Thing on the possible. No. I really enjoy running. I'm a bit of a masochist, so I love hurting myself a lot. So I really enjoy quite long runs where I can just almost, it's a good way for me, I think a lot, and it's a good way for me to get sort of meditating almost and get just think of just nothing. So it's almost one of my favourite things is just go out for a really, really long run, and then often, I mean, maybe it would do say a drop down at the end of that, which is more challenging, but it's just I really just enjoy the escapism of and just the meditative state of running for a long time, and it's like a metronome. So that's probably my favourite thing. It's probably why I'm suited to doing Ironman, I say.
Yeah, excellent. Another one for you, Sarah. What keeps you motivated?
I think you always want to get better at it. It's very hard to marry up your best performance with the most important race, and I think there's you're just constantly trying to tie those two together, and it's it's I guess a perfectionism thing to try and make that happen. And so every time, I mean, the day you stop looking for improvements in performance or stop being able to find them is probably when you start considering what you're doing in anything. And so at the moment there's still so many things that I can work on, and that gets me up every day. It's trying to, it's not a result or anything like this, it's just trying to get better. yeah, anything that challenges me keeps me motivated, for sure.
Excellent. Cam, one for you. How do you balance the variety of athletes in your squad? I mean, you've obviously got different levels, different abilities. How do you balance that? Tough question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm not sure how I do it. I just do it. Basically, some of the time we're split up into different groups, and so we'll have like the female short course group, the male short course group, and then the long course group, and then but often we're interspersed. Yeah, because within that mix we have people that have swim weaknesses, so they might be away doing actual specific work on their swim. We might have people that are weak on the bike, and so it's kind of organised chaos.
Organised chaos,
I think, yeah.
I guess branching off that, if you can just take us through, how you maintain, I guess, a good culture within the squad as well. Like, there's so many different personalities, so many different, people and abilities. How do you kind of maintain that culture?
Yeah.
Or how important is the culture to you?
The culture is a little bit different to most triathlon groups. So, my group is a high performance group. So we have, Romy's not even really a junior anymore.
No.
So I really only have two juniors. I've got a junior male, a Swiss kid, and a junior from Queensland. The rest are all under 23 or professionals. But I consider once they're under 23, then they're professional anyway. And so it's a bit different of a group compared to your age group amateur dynamic, where you actually, the focus of those kind of groups is enjoyment and fun, and there's a huge social aspect to that. Whereas ours is, when it comes down to it, each individual is chasing their the best version of themselves, and so it's very narrow focused, and so really our culture is based off not getting in each other's road.
Okay.
And so and that's just the reality of high performance sport, that we don't all get together and there's 15 of us down at the pub on a Friday night. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, really the main point of keeping our culture and harmony within the group is we don't get in each other's road. And
yeah, no, that's interesting. And I guess another one that's come in, and I think this is actually perfect, is how the question is, what is Cam's coaching style? So how would you perceive your coaching style?
I'm not sure that I could label it, and certainly probably can't label it myself, because it's probably other people's opinions. But
maybe I should ask Romy, what's Cam's coaching style?
Well, it's interesting because Cam used to sometimes train with my dad, like way back in the day. So I don't know, they had a similar sort of mentality. I don't know if it's a sort of style, or I don't know how to label it, but it's just like, if you want to do it, you do it, and you put your best effort into it. It's like they'll give it to you like straight. Like, if you're not doing good, they'll tell you. If you're doing great, they'll tell you. And it's like basically just reality. And it's like, well, if you want to get good, this is what you have to do, and you're doing it or you're not. I don't know. It's very. I like it because it's real, just straight down the line, and it's like, it's black and white. But yeah, that's probably what I'd say. Okay. I enjoy it like that. So
I think
with a bit of niceness chuck in there.
Yeah.
A bit of like a...
There's got to be a bit of bit of friendly.
Yeah, a bit of friendliness chuck in there, around there. Bit of banter.
I just treat everyone as individuals, and so perhaps my style for one person would be the complete opposite for another person. And so if that's a style, I don't know if there's a label for that, but yeah, I think there would be, within my group, I think there would be quite varied opinions.
Varied approaches and answers.
Like, I'm very hard on certain people because that's what they respond well to, and they're begging me for that. And then
others
other
you
people
tread a little bit carefully with your approach.
Yeah, and that's what, going back to the culture, it's just about getting this group of individuals the best out of each of their individuals, of what they're capable of, and you've got to treat people differently.
Yep. Another one that's come in, and I'm going to throw it to all three of you actually, because obviously all three of you are in high performance triathlon, driven, motivated, so consuming. There has to be a part of life where you do switch off. So the question is, how do you switch off?
Should start with me?
Yeah, start with you, Sarah.
Switching off, something I don't do too well at, coming from a working background in corporate finance as an accountant. I'm very detailed focused, so as soon as I try and focus on something else, I'll get stuck in the detail of that. So I just have to learn to see myself doing that. So I mean, I've been learning German, which has been good because it's a little bit different. It's very challenging for me. It's not the sort of side of my brain that works that well. So that's probably the more recent thing. But often I just need to literally just watch television and movies and stuff to be able to really get away from the thinking. But yeah, that's definitely something that challenges me a bit, is relaxing. Cam would agree, I'm sure. Just calm your jets.
We've come up with a few very strange strategies to try and keep Sarah's brain ticking over, but
and not too
different
high.
stuff.
Different revs.
Yeah.
Okay, different revs. I like it.
I think 2 Konas ago, I could see Sarah's, as we started to freshen up a little bit and started resting into the race, I could see that's not a good thing for Sarah's mind. She has to have some kind of stimulus there, and so I think I asked her to work out and let me know what is the fuel cost on a Boeing 747 per passenger from LA to Honolulu Airport.
To literally switch focus and switch mind to something, to think about something else.
Yeah, and then bang, the laptop was out and she was pumping away. And
it was a research
an hour
project.
later, it backfired because then she said, well, what fuel are you talking, and is it a headwind and is it a tailwind, and how much payload do we have, and
I mean,
is it this version of 747? So that kind of gives you a little bit of insight of
what
maybe
goes
what's going on under that cap.
But I mean, can you agree, like obviously we laugh, but it's really important to have that switch off time, you know, at any level, but especially at high performance. It's important. But I guess as a coach too, I mean, you've got to have outlets to relaxing. What do you do?
I have 3 kids, so they I'm not sure if that's relaxing. They might be watching this. I like music, and so then I get into music and weirdly study musicians and their lives, and it's getting a bit deep now, getting into how they recorded their music and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's my past hobby, I guess.
And Romy?
I'm probably quite similar to Sarah in the fact that I don't really switch off. I guess what I do more is like compartmentalize. So like if I'm training, I think about training. When I used to go to school, like I just do schoolwork, and I'd get caught up in the details. There was never really a switch off time. But I found getting a part-time job in my gap year this year was good to switch off. Like I'd have like a 3-hour shift, and like I worked at IGA, and I'd literally just like be scanning items and talking to the person in front, and I found that sort of helped to
It's outside of the sport of triathlon.
Like occasionally you get someone come through and they'd be like, actually someone came through once with like a Caloundra Tri-Club Triathlon cap on, and I was like, it's back.
It's back. Triathlon is in front of me.
Escape. But I find it hard to switch off too, but that's something that I found was interesting. I've gotten into reading lots of sport autobiographies. I read Ronda Rousey's, and currently I'm reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's as well, thanks to my brother. And I find that's just a good way to, look into somebody else's perspective of elite sport.
And obviously soon you're about to take on university. It's a whole nother level. I mean, the mix of trying to balance high performance, triathlon and studying such an intense degree is going to be a real challenge. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Actually, back in St. Moritz, middle of last year, I went to Cam and asked, should I do uni part-time so I can try and balance it a bit better? And he actually said to me, no, go full-time, because you're just going to want to do that. Like, you're too like into the detail. Like I need to stay busy, otherwise I just get too, I don't know, I get too obsessed with one thing. So I'm looking forward to doing full-time uni. It's gonna be a challenge, but it's gonna be good.
No, we're excited for the road ahead. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting year, but yeah, look forward to it. Cam, you're in the hot seat. Some questions for you. What is your ultimate goal as a coach?
Oh, I, to be honest, I don't really have any major long-term goal, because my goals are, I guess, attached to each of the athletes that walk through my door.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that there's actually quite a short lifespan of each of my athletes, like whether that's 3 years, whether it's 10 years. Please don't still be here in 10 years' time. But, yeah, and so I guess it's just continuing. I know it's cliche and it's a bit corny, but it doesn't mean it's not true. That I follow my athletes' goals, and then I just keep moving forward with each athlete that comes through.
Yep. Following on from that, so what do you believe is an essential characteristic of a professional triathlete? So an essential characteristic.
Well, there's probably a couple of non-negotiable ones to be successful professional, and that's resilience, like dedication, all those buzzwords. You got to be dedicated and dedicated long term, not on January 1 or December 31st. You got to be in there for the long haul. They're non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm. All right, so lighten things up a bit. A couple more. We love these ones. Race day superstitions. So, Romy, start with you. Do you have any race day superstitions?
I've got my routine that I go through, but not
it's
really.
The same routine that you apply to each race?
It's similar. Like, I try and do a similar thing, but I try not to get stressed out if I can't do something. Like, that's a big thing, is no stress. But not really so much superstitions. I always like to do these run drills. Like, I have like this little set of run drills that I used to do when I was back with Toby on the coast, and we'd always do these run drills before a track session on Thursday. And one of it, like my first triathlons I did, like we did them as a warm up, and like I just always do them before. I don't know why. I just do.
That's a superstition for sure. Yeah,
it must be. Yeah, and I always just have to feel the water as well. Otherwise, I feel like I haven't swum in days.
Yeah,
so.
your pre-race setup isn't complete without those drills or in the water. Yep.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yep. Sarah?
I actually don't think I have any. Like, I think it goes, I think it's probably my mindset around things that I'm quite factual. And so for me, it's just basically, I just run through a routine that's similar for each race. Like Romy said, it's nothing to get hung up on, but I think being adaptable is pretty important, especially with long course. Lots of things can go wrong. So it's part of, learning to be better is to be able to accept things that don't go your way in the morning before a race or during as well. So, I mean, you always hope for nice weather and that sort of thing, but that's not really in your control or anything like that either. So, I don't really have anything. I just just want to stay relaxed and chill out before a race. So, nothing that I don't wear like a certain pair of underpants or don't wear a certain cap. Or
another one for you, Sarah. What are your travel tips? Like, how do you manage, traveling, time zones, eating, everything in different countries when you are over there racing?
You've got a blog about packing the bike, don't you?
Yeah. Look, there's certain. I guess I always look ahead to where I'm going to, so that'll give you the time zone where you need to be, and so you can work backwards from that to work out when's the best time to like sleep to get on that time zone. So usually what I try to do for traveling, say across the date line, is, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it works for me, is to try and get more sleep. So if it means that I have to kind of like peg my sleep a little bit earlier or later on certain days of the week leading in, I actually do that. So maybe I'll stay up until 11 or something like this. But also if you say flying if you fly during the night and you're arriving in the evening, I'll try and sleep on the plane and then stay up for a little bit and then go back to sleep again when I get there. But it's just the key is to get onto the time zone
as soon as
that you're traveling to. So it can be a little bit challenging, but it's for me as well, especially trying to calm my brain down and things. But don't have caffeine or anything like that. Sort of if you're trying to get sleep.
What about food though? I mean, food is such an important part of your life. So how do you kind of maintain?
Yeah, look, often I take food with me, depending on, especially maybe the first meal sometimes. So I will often take maybe oats or something like this so that I can have my breakfast. But yeah, it can be very challenging because some countries don't have sort of foods that you recognise, but also maybe it's not as easy to come by like sort of healthy foods as well. So it's good to have a look perhaps in advance to see maybe what's available, and then sort of pack some provisions in case it's not what you expected. But usually you can sort of fit in. But if it's maybe a bit sketchy, it's like drink bottled water and maybe only eat at the hotel if you can. And I certainly don't eat any kind of like white meats or anything like that in the week before a race. I typically don't eat chicken and stuff, maybe for an Ironman, say 4 or 5 days out, just in case. And that applies even in Australia for me. That's probably the key kind of things. I mean, there's a few others, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Following on from travel, the theme of travel, another one for Cam. So do you plan everyone's travel and the logistics of everyone's travel in the squad? Or how does that work?
Yeah, well, to an extent, I do, just with like the days of mostly the international stuff of what days best to travel with, especially if we're traveling close to an event. We work out what's the best day, and some of my athletes, all of my athletes that have been established with me for a while, we have like quite a well-rehearsed routine in a race week, and I just know when the best day is to travel, and I know some of my athletes need more time to adapt to different time zones, and then some of the more experienced ones don't be worried, but I don't have any problem sending Sarah to Europe, and she lands Saturday morning, she'll rock up Sunday morning and she'll race, and then she can sleep Sunday, Monday, Tuesday after that when she recovers. But it's all, I guess maybe this is a bit of a theme of what I'm saying to my last answer. It's all individual, but yes, we do plan the travel because it's integral to performance. Yeah.
Big job, definitely a big job. Another one for you. Who inspires you?
My athletes inspire me when I see how hard they are, how hard they're working to overcome some of their weaknesses and trying to be better. I see them train every day, 3 times a day, and I get a lot of inspiration out of them. I have mentors. I have a couple of great mentors, and I see how they've conducted themselves over their careers and gone through the highs and lows, and and get heaps of inspiration out of them. I get a lot of inspiration out of old school athletes too, like the old ones like Ron Clark and Tracy Wickham, all those kind of era athletes.
Yep. Very good. Romy, what is your career goal?
Wow, that's quite a big one. In triathlons, my career goal is probably just to basically see how far I can go in ITU. Looking 3-4 years ahead, 5 years ahead even, I'd love to obviously eventually represent Australia at Commonwealth and Olympic Games. But I think for me a bigger thing, I would love to win a WTS eventually when I'm older, the whole series. I reckon being able to execute great, good races throughout the year and then finish it off is something quite awesome. So I'd love to be able to do that, or have a Gwen Jorgensen year where she went undefeated. That was
the
incredible.
Dream, the goal. I guess looking back, I mean, you said before you're out of the junior ranks now, moving, obviously higher. Looking back at your career to date, are you so proud, and what are the things that kind of jump out at you as a highlight?
I'm pretty proud of where I've got into in the past 4 years. I remember one of my first tries, I got 9th in my age group at Triathlon, and like Dad and I were both so stoked. We were like, oh my gosh, like I got top 10 in my age group, I'm stoked. And then yeah, just from there it's sort of just been upward, and even though like I've broken my arm and I know like being overseas a lot, like I still managed to get in good form for racing. But I don't know, a couple of things that really jumped out would have been definitely representing Australia at Worlds towards the end of last year. That was awesome, especially in a hometown. Another thing was probably also last year getting to go overseas and St. Moritz, and yeah, just train with like really amazing athletes, and just I think this past year has just really opened up like what my life could potentially become. So yeah, probably this past year.
Yeah, very inspiring words, Romy. This is always a good one. Just came through. It's for both the girls. What is your favourite pre-race meal? It's always a goodie.
Oh,
what's your go-to pre-race?
Yeah, so I typically have the same sort of thing every time. But recently, I haven't told you this, but it's breaking news.
Exclusive scoop here.
Yeah.
Right here, Triathlon Queensland.
No, because in South America, I raced there last year and I couldn't get what I needed. I tried a different breakfast. You sometimes have to adapt a little bit to the situation. I actually took a whole stack of sort of protein supplement with me, and I sort of mixed that into a cereal, to a muesli. With some Nutella before the race, so it was a bit of a risk because you know one, how your stomach. I think I've got a bit of an iron stomach except for eggs, so yeah, I can kind of take anything, which is good. And it didn't have. Luckily, I don't recommend doing this because it's best to. I actually am a big fan, and I train very consistently pre all my bricks, practicing exactly from the dinner before what I'm going to do for my brick training session. So for me it was like a little bit of a leap of faith because I had no option. So yeah, but typically I actually just have toast with honey and banana. So for me it's a bit of a switch because one time I had a similar sort of breakfast and it was for a short course race and it didn't go down that well, so I didn't digest it. But Ironman being a bit longer, it was
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, has that changed
Yeah.
from, you know, when you were racing, I guess, ITU to now racing long course? Have you, obviously,
Yeah,
food has changed a lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, ITU, you often race during the middle of the day, and it can be quite challenging to make sure that you're not, like, sort of overfull, because often the races might be, say, 10 or 2 or something like this, and it's not early morning. So that was actually initially a big adaptation from racing maybe age group, and then going up through even continental cups are often in the morning, and then all of a sudden you're racing, say, World Cup or something, it's in the daytime. So that was like a little switch that I had to get used to. But definitely going longer, you got more time to digest things in the swim. So,
and you'd agree it's what works for you, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
You both probably have completely
but practice,
different. Yeah, but practice.
Yeah.
And don't change anything.
Just change it before regional
on race day.
Yeah. On race day.
What's the rule? You don't do anything new on race day. You stick with what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Romy, what's your pre-race meal?
Well, because I was used to always racing really early in the morning until probably like last year. I'd usually go peanut butter, banana, Nutella sandwich and some Gatorade and that would get me through to the race. I'd race and then I'd be fine. But since doing like Olympic and also racing a bit later, I think at Worlds I had some cookies in the morning, had a full sandwich, and then had more cookies and more Gatorade. And I don't know, because I didn't race until 11:30, so I sort of just had like a morning tea, but it's usually just consists of banana, peanut butter, bread, and Nutella, and cookies. And that's pretty much it.
What's your advice, Cam, in terms of like nutrition pre-race? What's your piece of advice?
I think you nailed it, Courtney. It's don't do anything different to what you normally do. It's performance suicide to experiment on the fly on race day. So and so I don't care. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I've people that have ice cream 24 hours out, but they practice that and it works for them.
It works for them.
And they do this at the end of the race. I have people that have muesli. I have people that stir up Nutella and protein paste in a hotel room in South America. They do this because they worked out what works for them. And, well, other than that time, they practiced it over and over. It's a routine.
We've got a couple of minutes to go, so I've got a couple more questions. This is a good one. There's a lot of first-timers in the sport of triathlon here in Queensland. Do you have any funny or awkward stories, that can be all three of you, from when you started out in triathlon? It can be funny, can be awkward, can be weird, totally wacky, something that stands out that you, I don't know, made a mistake in transition and needed to work on it. Romy, you're up.
Mine's reasonably embarrassing. It's to do with pre-race nutrition and timing. I was once doing a race a while back, and I was like trying to catch up. Really, like I was going for it. Like I was a bit behind in the swim. I was gunning it on the bike, and on the run, I was like I caught up right to her heels, but then my gut went a bit funny, and luckily I knew the area, so I went to the nearest public toilet, and then I was fine after a couple of minutes and ended up finishing the race, which I was fine. But yeah, just make sure you get your timing right and you know what you're putting into.
Yeah, I think that's some really good advice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my first triathlon was Olympic distance, and I think I probably overdid it. I ended up with actually chicken pox because I'd pushed myself a little bit too far, and I don't know how I got it, but obviously I compromised my immune system pretty badly. It was quite a hot day that I did it, and yeah, I just remember I had to take time off work and everything. So I think maybe that was like my first try too. So you're kind of like, oh, is this what it's about? This is pretty tough. But I think, yeah, I guess if I had any sort of advice, it's probably to not always go chasing like a longer race or that it's bigger or it's better, particularly with work-life balance and everything else. Like it's really important to make sure you're having fun doing it, because you often see people kind of get started and they're getting all the gear and it's all really exciting, and then they get pushed and, you know, they're always seeking a longer distance event, and then they do a big race and then they sort of realise what toll that's taken on their family life and work and stuff. And even just that first race for me was like, well, this can be kind of like pretty intense. So I think if you can take anything away from it, it's maybe just to make sure you're still having fun and enjoying your time with your friends and coffee and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to like spending all your time away from your family doing long rides and everything else. It's important to manage your whole life as a balanced thing, healthy. Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple more questions here. We've got Cam on the spotlight here. Do Olympic and 70.3 distant races play a role in Sarah's speed for Ironman events? So how what events shape up into leading into an Ironman goal?
Yeah, we've done some Olympic distance races. Yeah, I think maybe not many people realise how quick some of those top Ironman girls can actually go on the short course. Yep. And yeah, I think like Sarah did Noumea Olympic distance in 2017, and and run 35:23 off the bike, and that was in the lead up to an Ironman. It was 5 weeks from Cairns, probably. And obviously that's kind of how our years play out too. We build the speed up first, and then we just make it go for longer. Yeah,
a lot longer.
Bit of a reverse periodization, triple spiral periodization. That's what we do.
All right. So before we wrap up, if you both, Sarah and Romy, if you can let everyone know where you're going to be this year, what races, and your goals for the year ahead.
Oh, okay. So you'll probably see on my website, I've said that I'll be doing Gundawindi, which I'm excited about. That's in a couple of weeks on the 10th of February. Then I head out to, sort of debatable. There'll be some races in between, but my next major race would be Cairns Ironman in June. Then I head over to Europe, where we based for the European summer. I train St. Moritz, and I'll race Challenge Roth, which is my first time, and it's the last of the German races for me to try out. And then following that, I will probably head over to the USA, where I train in Park City, Utah. Beautiful place of the world. Train there, and then like obviously Kona's after that in October, and that's the goal for the year. So this year I raced a few extra Ironmans that I would have expected. I just felt good at the end of the year, and we kept going. I feel like this year I'm starting off in really good shape, both physically and mentally, I think, as well. So I'm excited about this year, and really look forward to it. And I'll be videoing and documenting my year this year. So just check out my website, and there'll be things coming out in the next few weeks. Just keep that off.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. We are pumped for the year ahead and can't wait to tune in to your travels. Romy, this year for you, snapshot.
Yeah, so doing Caloundra Try next weekend. Also, we'll be down in Devonport doing the Australian Under-23 series. That's Devonport, and then in April, Luke Harrop on the Gold Coast, and then Moreton Bay as well. And then after that, one race I do every year is Byron Bay Triathlon, so that's definitely going to be another one. And then finish uni for the semester, head overseas, hopefully do some races overseas, and then the goal is obviously to qualify for the World Champs, so hopefully get into that, but if not, just experience racing and just have fun while I'm over there.
Oh, we wish you all the best. And Cam, finally, what's the greatest piece of advice in triathlon that you've ever been given?
Well, that's a hard one, because there's so much advice I've been offered over the years.
Anything that jumps out?
Well, work out what your goals are, and when I say what your goals are, your goals, not what your friends think that you should do, or what you actually want, because our sport's quite unique in that there's something in it for everyone. All the different age groups, all the different distances, and so everyone fits somewhere in our sport. And there's not too many sports around that's the case. And so once you align what your goals are, then there's no reason why everyone can't get some satisfaction and enjoyment out of triathlon.
Yeah, fantastic. So insightful. It has been so amazing having you three here tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. I mean, life is so busy, your schedules are busy, so we really do appreciate your time. I hope that everyone got something out of that, and we look forward to seeing you on the start line soon. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.